your minds open and keep your in life and keep your minds open in training. And that is how life and training are both going to be, sustainable for a long time because they're going to be enjoyable. What you enjoy is what you're going to be good at. Fitness is full of liars, bad actors, just misconceptions, etc.
Exercise scientist Dr. Mike Israetel, who not only has a PhD in sport physiology, but is a competitive bodybuilder.
Here is my view in perpetuity until politics changes in at least the United States. This is my view as applied forward for the rest of this channel's lifetime until and unless politics really changes. Here it is. Ready? I 100% acknowledge, because I'm literate, that race is truly a biological construct. It is deep. It pervades almost everything. And it has real world differences in ability that are complicated. They are overlapping in spectra, but they are nonetheless for sure real. And they affect every single thing about your life on the margins. If you ask me any more questions about that, I won't say anything because I'm not getting canceled over that shit.
And in life, similar things. Funny thing about the gym, you learn in the gym, you learn in life. In life, there's a saying that gets abbreviated often: jack of all trades, master of none. And that's what I want to talk about in the fitness sense. Now, if you want to push your natural fitness to like optimum peak elite levels possible for yourself based off of your own genetics and DNA, well, you're going to have to fall in love with this. Fall in love with the game, fall in love with doing stuff with no one seeing, no one caring, because you're just doing it for you, not doing it for anybody else. And with that being said, anyone out here who's telling you, hey, you only have to train this one way, bodybuilding only, bodybuilding, or you only have to train this other way, kettlebells only, kettlebells. I want you to realize someone telling you that is a bad actor, false actor, just like they're trying to misguide you, and it's likely because they're trying to make some money off of it. They're probably trying to sell you a program that tells you you have to exist in this one rigid manner to be, considered whatever they want to label you: athlete, warrior, bodybuilder, etc., kettlebell, functional, CrossFitter. And let's just ditch the labels and let's just get back to fitness. Fitness, moving our bodies, being healthy, reaping the benefits of exercise, living long lives, enjoying all that fitness has to offer, like this right here, this beauty. I could be a cyclist, you don't want to weigh anything, watts per kilo, which means you want to produce as much power possible for as little weight as possible. I'm a freaking weightlifter. Like, I'm so proud of the weight that I have at 200 pounds. But as a cyclist, like, being 200 pounds is not helping you as a cyclist. Even if you're 200 pounds really lean, that's still 200 pounds that has to make it up these crazy climbs against people who weigh, one side of your, one of your hamstrings, So it's not optimal to weigh a lot as a cyclist. And it's also maybe not so optimal to ride my bike as a weightlifter. I, would argue about this, but, there's people who are going to argue with me all day long saying, that'd be time better spent doing more hamstring curls. And, I actually would argue that it's not, but that's neither here nor there. Be diverse as you like as an athlete. Now, if you just want to be a solo one-trick master, you see, I'm not even going to call you a one-trick pony because there's no disrespect on this side. That fit unk is your unk. Cool unk, not to judge you, just to say, hey, I've been in the game and I've been where you at. So let me just be a resource to you rather than, like a thorn in your side hating on you. So like, if you just want to be a power lifter, great. If you only want to train with kettlebells, great. But don't tell yourself lies and platitudes like, hey, this is the way, this is the only way, you got to be like me or be like nothing. Like, because that's toxic and it's blatantly false. Like, it's so untrue. Coming from someone like myself who, has trained in so many different modalities, way back when, serious CrossFitter, doing my first powerlifting meet this year, always tried to, keep my ollie on a skateboard, serious road cyclist, 5,500 miles at my peak year. I don't tell myself, I'm this type of athlete, I can only do this. And also, that's not even to talk about my hooping. I really was into street ball for a minute. Love me some street ball. And that's why I realized I'm a fitness fanatic. I love fitness. I love my heart pumping. I love being outside. I'm not the biggest on screens. I got multiple TBIs from freaking football and crossing my road bike. So I ain't like to look at screens for that long. But what I do love is outside. I can feel the pressure feels different. The barometric pressure, whatever it's called. Like I get outside and my head always feels better versus being inside looking at screens. So all this beef between, different fitness styles, it has to stop. It's silly and it's holding everybody back, If you're listening to any of this, if you're buying into it, it's madness. And then the beef in the fitness world gets even crazier, because you got people generating beef on like, hey, bodybuilding versus functional training. And then you guys got like the fake natural crowd and the steroid guys out of control. Dr. Mike Israetel, oh my goodness. Shame, tisk, tisk, tisk. And doing terrible things for just the image of bodybuilding as a sport. And bodybuilding has its place. I'm not hating on bodybuilding at all. I'm a weightlifter. Weightlifters and bodybuilders use tons of similar techniques, share training knowledge. We're in the same facilities. So, but just shame on Mike Israetel because, that's like the pinnacle of letting this bias towards your own greatness, your own bias towards your own training style, just cloud your judgment and cloud your mind and your thinking. Like, I don't even want to talk about the crazy things that man has promoted. But keep your minds open and keep in life and keep your minds open in training. And that is how life and training are both going to be, sustainable for a long time because they're going to be enjoyable. What you enjoy is what you're going to be good at because it's going to be natural. It's not going to be a chore. But if you're telling yourself you have to exist in these rigid boxes, you can only exist as an athlete in this really rigid box and you can only train this one type of way, well, you're really, shooting yourself in your own Achilles and really, betting against your own success because it's hard. It's hard to breathe when you're a natural living human being and exist in these little tiny boxes. We're not meant to be boxed up. And as athletes, we certainly aren't meant to be boxed up. We got all these limbs and all these muscles to, use them and exercise our, definition of athletics and fitness however we see fit. But we ain't got to hate on the other sides. Never hate, all love. Fitness gives love. Fitness is love. That fit-unk. Catch you guys on the next one.